It's now been about 2 weeks since part 1 of this documentary series, and the caterpillars have been progressing very nicely inside the homemade environmental chamber box. Many of the caterpillars have reached the end of their second phase. These two second instar caterpillars have parked themselves on the branch and are preparing to molt into third instar. This one has just molted into third instar. Notice the skin on the leaf behind him. Also notice that his head is green instead of black. This is because his exoskeleton is still soft and transparent and won't harden and darken for another several hours. These two third instars are about the same age, but are quite variable and look pretty different from each other. As these caterpillars grow, one thing that becomes more apparent are the black spines that cover the caterpillar's back. While adding a showy and ornamental look to the caterpillar, these spines aren't just for show, and can inflict a moderate sting to the skin if one isn't careful. These are known as urticating spines, and are the caterpillar's only real defense against predators. The toxin produced by the spines is mild and generally not dangerous to humans, although the sting can be irritating and itchy, similar to that of the stinging nettles plant. Next comes the most joyous part of any zookeeper's day, and that's cleaning out the animals' cages. Since the host cuttings have to be replaced every 3 to 5 days, it makes sense to clean the box at the same time. The old host cuttings and caterpillars have been removed from the box, and now I just need to pick up one caterpillar that fell off the host during the move and put him up safely on the plant. Then it's out to the garden for some shopping in the fresh produce section. Out in the backyard, I've planted and grown a number of these local native Ceanothus greggii bushes so that I'd have a convenient source of host plant when I raise this species. Since these are local plants, they've done very well in the environment here in my backyard. The 6 plants I planted 4 years ago have now grown large enough to easily supply enough foliage to raise 100 caterpillars in a given season. Okay then, let's finish up and get these cuttings back inside to feed those hungry caterpillars. As the caterpillars grow, I'll be using larger host cuttings to feed them. To accommodate the additional water supply for the larger cuttings, I'll be using these plastic containers with holes cut in the lids. The host plant stem should fit tightly in the hole in the plastic container, just like the water vials, which we'll also be using. Once we have all the new host plant cuttings secured in their new water containers, all we need to do is transfer them into the box and arrange them so that the caterpillars can easily crawl from one plant to the other. It might seem a bit crowded in here, but as long as the conditions are warm and dry, the caterpillars won't have any trouble with these overcrowded looking conditions at all. Rather than transferring the caterpillars by hand like we did with the freshly hatched first instars, we're just going to take the old host cuttings and lay them right across the new host cuttings and allow the caterpillars to crawl directly from one to the other. The old host cuttings also act as a sort of bridge work, which allow the caterpillars to access different areas of the host plant cuttings so they're able to consume it all before it dries out. And once again we leave the caterpillars right where we found them, back in their safe warm enclosure, to eat and grow and progress on to the next phase of their development. More documentary to come as this project continues. Thanks for watching.